Hello, everybody. Welcome back to You've Been Josh with Josh. I'm your host, Joshy boy. Episode 16. Episode 16. We have always made it sound like every episode it's a momentous occasion, so I'll continue. 16. Oh my, we've made it. Holy shit. I can't 16 episodes. 16. That's crazy. I hope everybody's doing well. Some announcements. The game that I mentioned last week when Crimson joined us, that we spent 10 hours on stream for, working our ass off, and then found out that the trophy was bugged. I fixed it, and we got the platinum. Very exciting stuff. I was very excited that it happened. Was really worried that it would just be there forever with one trophy missing. But we got it. So yay, woohoo! All right. Also, hope the weather near any of you listeners are all right. It's slowly getting colder here, which has always confused me, because with Pennsylvania, you would think that December and January would be like the coldest months, but it's like February that gets the coldest. So like now it's slowly starting to get even colder. And we just got a foot of snow, so it's been brisk. It's been brisk outside. With our dog being from Texas, we thought that he would not like the cold. We usually have to get him sweaters because he gets so freaking cold. But he loves the snow. When we take him outside, he's one of those dogs who will jump and burrow like a fox into the snow and then pop his head up and be like, "Oh, I'm cold." So he's been having a great time. He's been having a fantastic time. But I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope the weather's treating you kindly. And I hope everyone's having a good week so far. I can't believe it's mid January already, which is crazy. You know, it feels like 2022 hasn't even begun yet, but you think about it, the first month is almost over, which is weird. But today, I really wanted to talk about childhood Josh. We've talked about childhood Josh quite a bit with random stories, but we didn't really talk about me as a person, as a human being. And I feel like I'm on Josh Mark 3 at this point in my life. I feel like I've gone through, I would say Mark 4. I would say Mark 4. I went through like 4 different stages in my life. And some of them were good, some of them were bad, but I feel like that's the way it is for everybody, you know? Because we're constantly growing and evolving and learning from experiences in our lives and whatnot. But to open people's eyes on a little bit of background on myself, if you haven't heard past episodes, my dad's a pastor, my mom's a teacher, and I'm a kid, now an adult, but I was a child at one point. I feel like everyone is at some point in their life they're a kid. I mean, yes, that's how it works. But but when growing up, I was always the quiet kid. Surprisingly, I feel like a lot of people think that I've always been like outgoing, but I was not. I was a very, very quiet person. I've been homeschooled. I was homeschooled up until I was a freshman in high school, and I use that as a joke now as much as I can whenever I do something stupid. I feel like it's a way to deter from the actual stupidity I have, but it's a funny joke to make. But no, I used to be super, super shy. I was always very like quiet and collected growing up. And very awkward. And then when I was like 11, I want to say. Yeah, no, it was I was like 10. When I was 10, I wanted to find something that I could do because my sister was always into music. And me myself would always like play video games and watch movies and like rollerblade. But I never really found like a niche for myself, and I played a lot of sports growing up during middle school, like basketball and soccer. I played a lot of soccer, but I never found something that really fit me. And so, being a huge movie guy, kid, It's weird to call. It's weird to call a child a guy. Hey guy. Hey guy, how's your mac and cheese in hot pockets? Sorry, that was a random thought. This is kind of funny. Um, I wanted to find something for myself because nothing really stuck with everything. So I was just like, I'm gonna figure something out. And so I remember me and I think it was my grandmother were trying to find like a casting agency that I could start getting some like auditions for like movies and stuff, which ultimately probably wouldn't have seen any fruition because I was living in like the middle of Pennsylvania. But who knows, And so we were looking and stuff, and then we realized that like, oh, there's a community theater like 2 doors down from me, which is we were in Gettysburg at the time. And so I was like, oh shit, like you should try that. And at the time, I had no idea what musical theater was. I was my understanding of musical theater was Oklahoma and Sound of Music and stuff, like the movies and The King and I, but I didn't know what they were because like even they were still movies to me. They were movies with songs. I didn't know that there was an actual word for it. Um, so like when they were like, "Oh, we're doing the shows and stuff," I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." That's interesting. And so I did choir in church, obviously. And so my dad was like, "Oh, you should try it out. Like you might as well give it a go." And I was like, "All right, that's fine. That's cool." So we went out, and I met with my parents, and I auditioned. They were doing Into the Woods, the musical. And I had never heard the musical before. Again, like I didn't know what musicals were. I didn't realize there was a separation between movie and musicals and whatnot. And it went all right. It was, it was fun. I got Rapunzel's Prince. So if anyone's seen the movie adaptation they've made recently with James Corden and all them, I was the younger brother. I was the younger brother in the Prince duos who sing Agony. Agony! Oh, the torture, the teach. That whole thing. Yeah. Super fun. Super fun. I loved it beyond belief. It was such a fun show to perform, and I just realized that like I was like, this is really cool. Like we're on a stage, you're performing, you're just being goofy and stuff. And like, I don't know, there was like this weird separation in my mind from like I was nervous whenever I did the show for the first time because I'd never done anything like that before, but I've done choir. I knew how to sing, and then the acting was a whole thing, but like I feel like I kind of fell into that a little bit because of my love for movies and whatnot, and like just being a people person and watching and whatnot. But I was always shy prior, so like when I started doing it, I thought I would be like have a whole bunch of stage fright and stuff, and I didn't. I feel like like I always got nervous before a show, but like as soon as you're on stage and you have the lights on you and stuff, you can't really see the people's faces in the audience, so like I feel like that just goes away. I don't know. It's a weird like disconnect in my mind, but it was always been there, and so I just fell in love with it, and through theater and the people that I met through it and the shows that I did, I just came out of my shell a lot. Like I just really came out, and I started doing like improv stuff and like comedy and a bunch of shows. I I don't talk about it much on stream just because it's not really a prevalent topic, but I'll go through some of the shows that I've done. Okay, we'll go through some of the shows that I've done. Into the Woods was my first one that I did, and then I believe I did Annie, and then Frog and Toad the musical. Which anyone read those childhood books, Frog and Toad? That was a great book, great musical. It was a lot of fun. Once on This Island, Oklahoma. I've done Christmas Carol like I don't even know how many times. I cannot stand that show or that movie or that musical anymore because there's a musical adaptation somewhere I think for it, but I just cannot do it anymore. That play because it's just so. I've just seen it so I know the story so well that like it's just like oh god please. Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Big River. I've done Avenue Q. That was one of my favorite shows I've done. Putnam County Spelling Bee. Oh god, what else? She Loves Me. Oh lord. A lot. I've done a lot. I've done a lot of shows. I can't even list them off all off the top of my head right now. If I had a list, I could do it. But I know for a fact that I've done over 60 shows. I know for a fact. I did it from when I was 10 until I was like 19. For like 9 years. And that's what I thought I was going to go to college for. I actually went to a magnet school in Florida for my junior and going to be my senior year, but then I decided against it after being there for a year to do theater. But then I realized that I wanted to do business or something else, and that's when I did the juice bar afterwards. But that's a whole other story. But no, it went from me being super shy into super outgoing, and it was just from theater. It was from doing theater, and I always enjoyed that. And I honestly wish I could do some again, but I know for a fact that I would only want to do community theater. I could never do it professionally. One, I'm a horrible dancer. They want a triple threat for people on Broadway to sing, act, and dance, and I can only act and sing. Dancing? Nope. I look like a middle school dad. I look like a dad at a middle school dance. That's me. That's me when I dance. Oh, window sound. Nice. Thanks, computer. Thanks, computer. The day that I use my broadcast stream mix instead of my just microphone, you guys hear the Windows sound. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The computer was mad at me making a joke about middle school dads, apparently. But that was stage two. That was stage two of Josh. Stage one was the shy Josh. Stage two was the outgoing Josh. Stage three was pretentious Josh, which happened junior, senior year of high school, where I felt like the world was my oyster and everything was going the right way, even though I had no fucking idea what I was doing with my life. And then I got a giant slap in the face for me being an idiot, just like making poor decisions left and right. And I feel like we all have that turning point at some point, you know? And then late 18-year-old to now is stage four. And I feel like just now, at this point in my life, I'm reaching stage five, where I feel like I'm an adult. I feel like I'm on my fifth evolutionary stage. This is my legendary form, where I've come to terms with who I am, the things that I like, the things that I like to do, the people that I like to be around, and I'm becoming who I want to be. You know, this is Josh Mark 5. Josh Mark 5. I feel like that's the best way to put it. Josh Mark 5 is now. But to explain a little further, and the reason why I'm on my broadcast stream mix, I'm actually bringing in a guest today as well. I know that last week we had a guest, but you know what? I wanted to have another one because it was a lot of fun last week. And this person with this topic, I feel like will be able to shed a lot of light on this version of me and past versions of me, which is me as a kid. And that is the other Josh, which you all know as JP or JavaPalette, who is joining me today. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Pretty good.
That's good. To everyone who doesn't know, I've talked about him plenty of times before on the podcast, but JP, Josh, has been... I'm allowed to call you Josh if I want to call you Josh.
No, you're not.
He's been my best friend since we were out of the womb. Yeah. His mom and my mom were good friends, and they happened to name both of their sons that came out the same time, Josh, to confuse us.
Yeah, it was just a ploy. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was just a giant ploy to fuck with our brains. But him and I have been best friends for a very, very, very long time, and he's seen the whole evolution of Josh.
I have.
And I've seen the whole evolution of the other Josh. And we were was it me or my dad who made the JP like
I think it was a combined like thing. I think it was like
all of us together.
Yeah, I think it was just too confusing when it was Josh. For
Yeah,
both
yeah.
of us.
Someone goes Josh, and we'll be like, huh? What?
Both of us would look, and it was just
It got
no
very
bueno.
confusing. Yes.
Very.
And then you just kind of adapted the JP thing. I remember at school, people knew you as JP as well, and it was just very odd.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, it happens. It happens. You know.
Yeah. But I know that it was muted for you, and I don't know why. I had to check to see why the routing's that way, but I talked about high school and going through the theater and stuff and coming out of my shell, and how from like age 17 to 18 I was in like stage 3 of Josh, which was like the pretentious Josh that was like
that did
making
happen.
bad decisions left and right, just thought the world was my oyster, and then the slap in the face, and then the juice bar, and now into now, which is now I feel like this is like stage 5, my legendary evolution, where it's like now I'm feeling more comfortable with myself. Now I'm doing things that I know that I like, and I'm hanging out with people that I know I get along with and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to talk about just like childhood stories that I've probably forgotten, but you still remember. Um, whenever I think about childhood with you, there's a memory that always comes up to mind, even though it's very insignificant.
Okay.
It's when you lived in Dillsburg, and
that did happen.
I did live there. You had that giant ass backyard, and you and I were playing Nerf guns, and it was a gorgeous, like windy, sunny day, and we were playing Nerf guns outside, and all of a sudden it started getting a little like dark, and we saw this like just a flat line against the horizon, and we were like, "What the fuck is that?" And it was coming closer to us really fast, and it was just a wall of rain. Do you remember that? And we just booked it to the house, but it was just like you could see a wall of rain just moving towards us, like the clouds were just moving, and it hit us, and it was like still sunny out, but it was pouring like so hard. And so we were like, fuck it, and we just started like running around the yard like in the rain, but it was still sunny. It was I don't know why that comes to mind every single time, but like that, I don't know. It's just a weird memory that I have.
I mean, yeah.
It was a good memory. Just like a very odd memory to remember.
It was a very nice backyard.
It was a very nice backyard. Huge. Massive. I don't know who it was, but one of your friends there, like, they were like up the hill to the left if you're looking from your house into the backyard. There was like this sewer, like, great.
It was probably Nate's, right?
Yeah, but they had one of the things so that people could go down to like the sewer area or whatnot, and there was just a giant slab of concrete. And they poured a bunch of like gunpowder on the ground, and we lit it on fire to see what happened, and it made a mini mushroom. Do you remember that?
It was great. It was fantastic.
That thing was insane.
4th of July was like always the best because I mean, all we would do is just go around, get all the fireworks because Dan and Nate, I mean, they were old enough to do that.
Yeah.
So for those listening, my brother and his best friend, who was also our like conjoined backyard neighbor, that's the easiest way to describe it.
It's really weird. It was a development, so you can kind of tell like very windy roads, but big plots of like area.
It was really weirdly laid out. I don't know how it worked, but it worked. And like so, our backyards were conjoined, so we would always go hang out with him or whatever, vice versa. And but like 4th of July was like the best because we would just go get all the fireworks, everything you could imagine. That like, I mean. I was 11 at that point.
Yeah.
By the time that Dan could go buy fireworks, maybe 10, because he would have been. Yeah, you could buy fireworks at like 15 if you know the right people. Don't do that though. I mean,
depends on your state that you live in too.
That's true. Don't go get fireworks if you're not of age.
Don't do illegal things.
And learn from me because like I mean we would go and then like we would make like little like our own little fireworks setup. By like dumping all the gunpowder off. Remember those like little tanks?
Yeah. With a little fuse on the end. Yeah, we rip them apart and pour out the insides. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you would like leave one so that way it could be like the catalyst to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And don't do this either because this is extremely dangerous. I'm surprised we didn't burn ourselves.
I mean, we really should have. But like, actually, Nate's dad almost did, because I think I showed you that video. I don't know if you were there that year, but
yeah, I think I remember the video you're talking about.
Where like we were doing this and like we were like setting it all up, and then we were like, all right, it's time. Like the show's ready. And then we'd light the tank, and like it was shooting the little sparks off into this giant pile of gunpowder, and we were recording it because it was cool. And we saw like Nate's dad was looking at it, so we had parental supervision.
Thankfully.
kind of. So we were looking at it, and his dad was like, I don't think it caught. And like he went up to go look at it, and the thing just went and just like erupted in flame as he was like walking towards it. I don't think he got burned, but he was like really close to it, like very, very close.
Jeez.
Well,
yeah,
childhood shenanigans.
Dude, that's the thing. You think about all the stupid shit.
We should be dead.
We should be dead. I feel like you and I, at the age we are, we're on the cusp of that in between where like the only electronics we had were like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SV, Game Boy Color, and then the DS Lite. But that was even when we're a little older. Like in the earlier stages, we just had our like desktop, like the Windows desktop that only had like pinball. So like most of the time we were outside. You know, like
this is very weird because it's like very contrasting to now where you and I are basically locked inside all the time. I know.
Well, which is weird because like you think about like people always complain about like kids of now being like, oh, you guys have all this stuff. You just stay inside all the time. And a lot of people do stay inside. And it's like, yeah, but like you think about when we were kids, we didn't have those things. We definitely would have been inside all the time if we had the things that we have now. Like 100%. But like,
I'm too addicted to video games right now.
Same. But like that's the thing. Like if you think about it that way, then 100% we would do the same thing. But
I think the reason we're so into video games is because we got all the outside shit out, right?
yeah.
Like we already did it.
We already did that. We're fine. We've done our part. We've done the stupid shit. Because like we were bored all the time. So what did we do? We went outside and just found sticks and beat each other with it because why not?
That's what you would do. I mean,
we are cavemen.
I had two older brothers. You had an older sister, and so she wouldn't try to hit you or anything as much.
So you are my older brother because you're like 3 months older. So you beat me.
We would just go out, find sticks, and beat each other with them. Remember when like Nerf made like swords and axes and shit?
I talked about this like a couple weeks ago on the podcast, but at EB, you and I out in the backyard, we would just wallop each other so hard. Like
it's so wild.
How did we? And the thing is, how did we not get mad? Because obviously, because of our hormones, we were getting out the aggression that we were feeling, even though we didn't hate each other. So we would hit as hard as we fucking could for no reason.
Like, dude, it's like we're practically doing like the child-sized version of Fight Club.
Yes, at that age, like you want to hit someone hard. But you, even though I love you as a brother, I'm going to literally beat you.
I'm try to beat the hell out of you real quick. Hold on.
I'm going to swing as hard as I can with this Nerf sword, and if I break a bone, I will be pleased, but also very sorry.
Oh my god! Did we just come up with the title for this child-sized version of Fight Club?
I feel like that could be perceived really wrong. We'll come up with something at the end.
Yeah, we'll hit something up. But
but it's not wrong, you know? And do you remember those pine trees that were out EB that we would like? Yeah. They were so thick because they were like evergreens that you would have to like climb into it and you'd be scratched the fuck up and you'd try to get to the top and it was like oozing with sap. Oh my god.
You know what's even funnier? Like I vividly remember, like, yes, those were like thicket trees and like some parts of them were like that. Why were they so hollow in some parts? You know what I mean?
No, I totally understand. There was like
an opening.
Like, I think they were made specifically as decorative trees.
And we just like
but in our mind, I guess, because like you think about it, they were made to block off the one lot from the other lot from the dentist's office that was across the way. Remember
Right.
that? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking that was the reason they made it so that way it's
It
like
looked
it
thicker.
looks thicker, but it's not actually, because when you go in, you have to like really get through the front branches, but once you're inside, it's just sticks. It was so weird.
It
Well, that was the thing. That's
was.
why we would hide inside, because no one would
That's
see
true.
you.
That's true. We would just go inside. I think, didn't we like try to like get out of doing like work by doing
Oh,
that though, every
100%.
time? Just like run
100%.
away.
We would take our Game Boys and we'd go in there and hide, because
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
all
yeah.
like pine needles on the ground, so it was very like padded, and so we'd just sit at the base of the tree, get sap all over our backs, and just sit and play games.
Do you remember like getting those 59-cent sodas out of that soda machine?
I mentioned
It was like
it was 55 cents, and it was
Was
the
it
only
55?
Yeah, it was 55 cents, and it was the only soda machine ever that I've ever come across that had vanilla Coke. Ever.
Yeah. And then they started like vanilla orange, I think was in that one too, right?
Yeah. That was
And
crazy.
that was like the first time that came out, and we were like, "Whoa, what is this?"
Yeah, we're like, this concoction, it's so weird. Do you remember dissecting the cow's heart in the kitchen of that little building?
I remember like throwing up because of that.
Because
I don't actually
I got
remember
blood
that.
splattered on my face because they cut the
Oh,
one
yeah.
artery and it flung out. And that's when I was like,
No.
you and I were like, what, 8? Not even.
we were way
so
too
young. So we didn't understand. They're like, oh yeah, this is the cow's heart. And we're like, what?
What? Why do we have
cows? Because at that point, you're just subtly repressing the ideal that burgers are cows. You know it is, but you don't believe it.
It's like, yeah. It's a very sad moment. That's all that was.
So you knew me. You've known me my whole life. So you've watched the progression from pretty much.
I would say most of it.
All but a few months. Yeah. You saw the shy version of Josh, but then how was, from your interpretation, how was the transition from you knew me before musical theater to after I started?
You went. It was basically like, oh god, I can't think of like the right like analogy for it. But think of like any cool guy arc in any show. like any like TV show or like
oh
movie.
My god.
Where you're like, oh, I'm just a fat nerd, because I mean we were pretty chunky. We were
chunky boys.
I'm not ashamed, but like it was like, oh, I hate everybody, or I just want to do my own thing, and like all this stuff, and then you were like, I'm gonna try theater, and I was like, that's a nerdy thing to do.
Yeah, because
like,
at the time that was like super weird.
I was like, that's weird. I know you kind of like to sing. You were in church choir, so I was like, oh yeah, you know what you're doing. And I was like, sure, I guess. And then like from that point, like it was like a beautiful awakening happened where you were like, now I'm the cool guy. Now everybody get on my level. And it was just this. It was nice. It was really cool. It was nice to like watch you. I think I was still pretty shy at that point though.
Yeah, you were very quiet. You and I were like the same. We were always very quiet, but then open with each other. But then like I started doing theater and I became very outgoing, and you were still very quiet.
Yeah, and like you were like the lead in everything, which I mean that you're talented, but also how the hell did you score a lead in almost everything you were in?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I was just like, wow, everybody loves him. And then I think I got jealous a lot of the time because you would go like hang out with like your theater friends like after the show, and I was just like, I'm here, I guess.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, before I did theater, the only person I ever hung out with was you.
Me.
Because we didn't have friends. We didn't have friends. Like we were both homeschooled. Yeah, our age. Yeah. Because we'd only hang out with each other, and then if not that, we were doing school or like other things. And so when I started doing theater, it was the first time that like I was in like a public forum area with other kids.
Well, yeah, you were also homeschooled a while, and I wasn't after that year or two.
Yeah,
and it was just like, so I mean that makes sense. No, but it was really nice. It was really nice to see you go out and like score top leads and all this stuff. And then when you moved to Florida, like, and you were like, "Yo, I'm Romeo." I'm like, "Holy shit, you are the cool guy."
That was one of the craziest experiences.
I
But
bet.
like the thing is, from that experience, I realized that I didn't want to do this as a job. I was like, this is too much work. There's too much stress.
So,
I remember I got bronchitis from the stress.
You did.
I got literally the week before. Sick. I dropped 100 pounds.
I remember that.
Yeah, I dropped 100 pounds. I was like, I'm sick. I feel like an old man.
I think like I can't even remember where you were at. I mean, just in like actual physique, like you're always a husky boy. That's just how you are.
I've always had the dad bod. Always,
which is fine. It's in.
It's in right now.
But like. Fucking, I remember like seeing you before you left, and you're like your normal self. And then when you came back, I was like, "Did you like what?"
It looked like I shit out my entire like
everything,
everything in my body. It was
like
I was sickly thin. That's what I was. I was sickly thin, and it was only because the thing is. I remember at the time because I was living with my grandparents down there. It was so stressful because to anyone who doesn't know, I was at a magnet school for like the arts. They it was a high school, but it was basically college, basically.
Yeah.
But they specialized in dance, musical arts, and then oddly enough, science. But
wait, I thought it was like math. I remember
it was like math, science, or something like that. I forget what it was.
Something stupid weird.
Yeah, something that I wasn't a part of at all. I was not smart enough for that. But they had like a giant ass auditorium. They did like a bunch of competitions and stuff, and they did a full-fledged production of Romeo and Juliet. And I got Romeo, which was insanely crazy, but they did the full 3-hour thing, and I learned the entire thing. And
that was 3 hours.
I've never done Shakespeare before. I had never done something that long, and it was it was so hard. But like the amount of work, plus on top of that, doing regular classes, also doing like 4-hour practice after school each day, while also maintaining all my friends and making new ones. I was so stressed out. I was eating so much food, but nothing was like staying. Everything was flushing out. And I was just so sick. And that's why I was like, I can't do this anymore. But like, I had a good time. It was just like, I was like, no. But going back to what you were saying, I remember, and I don't know if you're going to remember this, but it's one of my fondest memories of you coming to see a show. You and Andrew both came to see a show of mine, and it was Godspell. Mm-hmm. And I remember I came out because I come in from the back. Yeah. And so you guys were sitting in the back, so I came out and I was like, "Hey," and you're like, "Oh shit, hi!" And I was in Godspell. I was Jesus. That was the whole thing. I played God.
For those of you who don't know, Josh is just Jesus. That's all.
Do you remember the meme that Evan Brock made that they're like auditions for musical becomes God?
Yeah, I remember that.
But the backdrop of the thing was me standing. They just outlined like I had died, and it was me with my hand up and my other hand down, like with like jazz hands, basically. But it was like Andrew, I remember specifically, Andrew looked me in the eyes and went, "I could have sworn that at the start of this you were gonna bust through that wall like fucking the Kool-Aid man." And I just never laughed so hard. And it's a very fond memory I have of him because it was very nice of him to come along with you because he didn't have to. Because we were friends, but like but like he knew that you wanted to go and he drove you down, which was super cool. But
it was very nice.
Oh my god,
very sweet. That I know. I remember that. I remember that vividly. All right, I was like, "What the hell? What is this?"
Well, because you could tell it was me as the outline. So you're like, "Is he gonna bust through that wall?"
I was like, "How did they do that? Is this gonna happen?" No, because I mean, Andrew and I were very similar. So like we would think like pretty much identically. He was just even more reserved than I was. Yeah. So it was just like I was like, "Oh yeah, that was gonna happen," and then it just never did.
Oh man, yeah, we both you really came out towards the end of high school. I feel like out of your show, I think it's because you found your people, but then also you found things that you really like to do, like art and design and stuff.
Right.
And photography, dude. Oh man.
Yeah. I miss going and doing like little photo outings. My dad would take me a couple times when I go visit, and then we would just like go hang out and go to like some weird like we went to like an abandoned I don't know how many people know these things. Like, remember the like old mill things, like the furnaces?
Oh yeah.
Like in Boiling Springs, they have one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, Dad took me to one of those in like in Maryland somewhere, and like it was so beautiful. It was really pretty. I swear, I think those pictures are probably long gone by now, but it was so nice. It was so cool. I love those.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, my whole thing, like, I remember the same time that you were in Florida doing all this, I was like, I think I hit you up and I was like, yo, I think I'm going to do stage crew. And you're like, dude, what?
Yeah, dude. I was like, dude, that's crazy. I was like, all right.
That was always fun. That was really fun. Like, I quickly was like, yo, this is going to be my thing. Because you and I followed each other in a lot of the things that we wanted to do in life, just in general.
Because we've grew up together, like it was just kind of like toe and toe most of the time.
Yeah, we're like, this would be cool. Let's do it. And then like we would work our own little path to get to that point, and then be like, yeah, nah, never mind.
Yeah.
And like it was really nice, like all throughout high school for me, because I had the joys of being in public school, unlike you. It was really cool. Like I met a couple people that were like, yo, hey, you should do a crew. Like it's really fun. You get to be a stage ninja. And I mean, me as a kid, ninja in anything, I was like, yes.
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
100%.
That is a good terminology for what that job entails.
It's what it is.
It's literally what it is. A stage ninja.
And I mean, just like the pharaoh thing. Like I always wanted to be a ninja. You happen to be the pharaoh. Like that's what it was.
Can we make have someone do a fan art of me as the pharaoh and you as like the ninja sidekick from behind? Like, dude, that would be such a cool ass photo.
Yo, we should hit up Crim.
We should ask Crim to make. It would be so stupid, and it wouldn't make any sense out of context.
No, not one bit.
Oh my god,
it's so perfect. But like so in my head, I was like, yeah, that's badass. I'm gonna do that. And oh my god, my cat is running around. Chill. So like, I was like, yeah. So I quickly I became friends with the stage manager, and then it was like her junior year. And I forget what show we did. We did Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so fun. It was really cool. I was for the lead. Do you remember Adam Bissell? I think
yeah, dude. Yeah.
I was the beard blower, a certified beard blower.
Oh.
Because the one scene where where I forget his character's name, but where Adam was like, I'm gonna go find myself, and then he went off into the woods, and it's like a flash forward. But it's literally between scenes. Like that's what it is. It's like this is like months later between scenes.
Yeah.
He had to have a fake beard put on, and I mean it's high school. We don't have good fake beards and all this stuff. So he had to use the instant skin stuff. And,
no.
Yeah. So
dude, that shit hurts.
Dry. Yeah. I don't know why they said, yeah, you can use this. It was not a good idea. But his face, his poor face. We had to put it on him, and so his girlfriend was the stage manager. So she would get it started, and then she'd have to go run and do something. So I was put in charge of blowing on his face to dry it. Because it was between scenes. We had 30 seconds.
You have to do that.
It was so wild. I was like, okay. I mean, I guess Adam and I were cool. He is always fun. But that was hilarious. And then the next year, I became ASM because Tori liked me, who was the SM. She liked me a lot, and she was going to school for it. And I was like, that's cool. I want to do that. And she's like, cool. Well, I'll help you build the portfolio and everything. And like, we'll do this. And then there was like some sort of tradition where it was like an accidental tradition where I don't know if you've had it, but like the SM somehow got stuck on stage during scenes.
Oh,
Like, did that ever happen to you? Like
no.
anybody in crew like accidentally gets stuck on stage? Um, yeah.
Like
So
behind something or
yeah, like behind something. Like it wasn't supposed to happen, but like the
oh,
lights were coming on. So
no,
like, what do
I'm
you
not
do?
oh,
So okay, so I guess we were just very unprofessional.
I mean,
So
like I
like
could see that happening, but normally it's just like as the scene change, the lights come up, you just see like their foot going off stage because they book it. You know what I'm saying? Like you
yeah.
miss it by a few or something.
So her thing was because like she was going to school, like everything had to be perfect. So
Yeah.
it was like everything was recorded, every change, all of it, the entire show was recorded from audience perspective. And so this was for her portfolio. And she was like, I can't have any mess ups, like none at all. And she got stuck on stage her last show. Like it was literally last night and everything, where she had to. We were moving stairs in for a scene in. Oh my goodness, I blanking. Music Man, and the Music Man. They were doing like one of the it was like the courtyard scene or something like that,
Mhm.
and there was like the set of stairs that she had to push in, and luckily it was hollow on the other end, but like she was pushing it in because we didn't have enough crew or like whatever, and the lights were coming on because she couldn't find the gaff, and she had to roll out underneath the stairs, and she was just stuck there for the entire scene, and then
Oh
the
my
lights went
god.
down. So funny.
I see. I haven't had any if weird things happen like that during like a show, but I've had like injuries on stage because of like
Yeah,
sets and stuff.
yeah,
Because like
yeah.
if you
The
think about it, to anyone who doesn't know like anything much about like musical theater, like shows at
set
school, like
building,
set building is ranky as shit.
it is not
It's
safe. Not
not safe
safe
at
at
all because
all.
they give you a certain set of dollars to spend on these set pieces, and so they have to just get 2x4s painted over. It's
Yeah,
normally
yeah.
just like
It's like plywood and 2x4s. Is
plywood
usually
and
what
two
it
by
is.
fours. Yeah, that's painted over to look nice, even though it's not. And
Right,
so there's
right.
normally loose screws, loose nails, things that fall over, just like very, it's normally how it is. And as when I started doing stuff at some other community theaters, it became a little nicer because they had more of a budget. But like high school and smaller
Oh
community
yeah.
theaters, like
Oh yeah.
it's it gets weird.
Nothing. You don't
Um,
get anything.
yeah, I remember I did which one was it? The producers, where I played Carmen Gia, the
Yeah, yeah.
very gay assistant. Um, and I'm supposed to burst through the one door when like swing through the door frame and go hello,
I
and
think I remember that one.
yeah, but there was a loose nail sticking out of the door frame. And so when I
No.
swung, my thumb went into the nail and I
Yep, I
swung
remember it.
and it shredded through my thumb
Mm.
because I
Mhm.
literally slid into it. And
Yeah.
that I had to hold my thumb closed to hold the blood back till the end of the scene, then run off and then bandage my thumb. But that entire
Yeah, I
scene, I was
remember
just
that.
like, that was
Going
so
at, like
bad.
that's that also shows like some like weird like put that in perspective of like anybody on any show. It's like you don't know what goes on. They
Behind
still
the
have to
scene.
deliver their
Do
lines.
you think of
Like
like bloopers in movies? Like a lot of the
yeah.
time, they'll take sections from shots that had laughing in it to use as the piece because it looked better, but you
But
don't
like
know what's
theater,
happening
you're
during that
live.
time. Yeah, with theater,
You gotta
it's just
just
like Twitch.
roll with it.
You gotta just go with what happens, and that's why that's why I feel like Twitch is a really good fit for me because I don't really have to take on the energy of people and the stress because I'm doing my own thing,
Right,
which
right,
was
right.
what I hated about theater. And
Yeah.
then with this, I can kind of do my own thing, but I'm used to being like live and just going with the flow and, the whole like, well, the show must go on type type situation.
Right. Yeah, that makes like a lot of sense.
Did when you were in high school, when you were doing the shows and stuff, did you have anything weird happen to you or anyone else in the shows like that you remember, like a crazy, even if it's like stupid funny, like they forgot a
So
line or
So there was this one thing that always hits me. We were doing Sound of Music. It was, I think, our junior year. We were doing Sound of Music, and I was SM, and something went wrong with the curtains. Like it was always janky. You know how that is. They were doing the announcements for the Von Trapp family, like who won the competition.
Yeah.
This was when La La Land was out, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And it just hit. Like La La Land was fresh. Everybody loved it.
Everyone saw the movie. Everyone was dancing the things. You know.
It happened like the week before our show.
Oh wow!
And it was so nice. It was so cool. I love that movie, by the way. But like the guy who was announcing like the winner for the Von Trapp, like the winner for the whatever winter festival, he forgot the lines, and he went La La Land, and like everybody died laughing.
That's
in the
just
audience.
smart. That's just like it breaks the fourth wall, but like at least you don't make it sound like you just sit there not saying anything.
And then he was like, no, and then like went back to it. He was like, that's the wrong card, and then like did the whole like card switch.
That's a
Luckily,
smart
he had more than
play.
one. Oh, he was brilliant. I loved him.
That's
he was so
smart.
good.
Also, to anyone who doesn't know, SM means stage manager. So basically, what JP would do is like, no, I'm just explaining. Basically, he would control everything going on. So, like, there's the light technicians, which will be controlling the lights in between scenes for the stage. There's the people who are on stage, going back and forth, moving sets and props and stuff behind the scenes during scene transitions, so it looks like the scene has changed. And so he would be basically controlling and making sure everything was going the right direction, basically.
Essentially, you're the showrunner when the curtains are closed or the lights are down.
He's the ninja controlling the other ninja. He's Raphael, the rat, and all of and all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are running on stage, taking out everything.
It's fantastic. It's one of those things. It's so good. No, I had this like big old chunky headset. Do you remember those? Like
to talk to everybody. Yeah, those things are big. They look like they look like pilots.
They do. Why were they so big?
I don't know why they're so big, dude. That doesn't make any sense.
Like you know, like drive-through headsets were like smaller. Why couldn't we just get those? Like, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
It's weird.
Like, what is this? Maybe that's why I don't mind them as much, because I used to wear one of those all the time.
Yeah.
But like that. I never really had anything big happen to me specifically, but this was around the time where I was like, I just quit volleyball because I had. How many concussions have I had? Like 4.
Lots. I remember one time you came to hang out with me after you had gotten a concussion and you wanted to go like roller skating or something, and I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like,
sure?
Because you were like out of it that entire day, and I was like, I was afraid you were gonna pass out because like I was like you can't fall asleep, so I was ready to just keep slapping you in the face if you had fallen over.
Which, by the way, that's a terrible thing to do if somebody has a concussion and they're trying to like fall asleep.
Yeah, I know. Don't slap them. But I was like, I need to keep you awake if you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But like so we were doing. I can't remember the shows ever, man.
Right?
One of the shows we were doing had like a storm scene in it, right?
Okay.
And so we had me, the stage lead, right? And then one of my buddies was going to school and did go to school for show production in like the lighting aspect.
Oh, nice.
You remember John? I think I talked to you about John.
Yeah.
He finished school, by the way. He's done like a ton of shows for like Elton John and stuff, like in the
what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's
like
sick.
he loaded shows for the most famous people like ever, and I'm like, what is going? I think he did a show for Lady Gaga.
See, that's the thing. The behind the scenes things for technical productions for anything can get jobs anywhere because no one. Yeah. It's such a specific thing to be in. Yeah, that like no one goes to school for it. Everyone wants to be the actor or the performer or whatnot. All the technician side of it, like no one thinks about that. So there's not that many people who go into that field.
But like, so he was up in the light booth, controlling everything, basically being God.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what would be really cool for the storm scene? I was like, what, John? He's like, we're going to get a strobe light. I'm fresh having a concussion, man.
Oh,
And
no.
it was the only thing I could do because I could only do it because everybody else was already doing something.
Yeah.
Like they had to be on stage left or whatever, and I was on stage right with the thing. And I was like, John, like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, it'll be fine. I was like, but are you sure? He's like, yeah. So I had to just endure like, you know, a little bit of visual pain because, you know, concussed. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And storm scene would pop up and just hit that strobe, man. That was wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy what you can do with basic stuff for the shows and stuff that imitates things. Like, I can't remember. I'm trying to think of like others. That was the thing. Before I brought you in.
Fog thing for that too.
Like a fog machine? Yeah. That's the thing. Before I brought you in, I was trying to talk about like all the shows that I've done, and I cannot think of them, even though I've done so many, and like some of them are like very prominent in my mind. Like, I can't think of the names. I can't think of specific moments. It's just they're all kind of like a blur.
I cannot think of what the actual shows were that I ran.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I know I ran Sound of Music. I think I ran Footloose. I think that was another one.
I remember you doing Footloose. I remember that.
That was weird. Okay, so the other thing about like set building, it depends who you have. So the lovely thing about high school set building is usually it's the dads that come in.
The dads of the kids, yeah.
And that they would be like, yeah, I'll help my son or daughter like with their show. I think it'd be nice. And every one of the musical kids, like fathers, was a construction worker of some sort.
Really?
So I don't I mean, you know where I lived. It was like rural right-wing people.
We lived in rural Pennsylvania.
Like, that's just how it is. So I had the complete opposite problem of like janky set building. I had damn near perfect constructed houses on my stages.
They're like, oh, we're gonna make this thing secure as shit. We're professionals here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was like, homies, like, come on. You remember the train scene for Footloose?
Yeah.
We had a bridge. A entire bridge that was like top to bottom, and our stage was big. Like it was top to bottom, like scrim, like gigantic bridge, and I had to move it. Like
Jesus.
For one scene, they made this gigantic bridge, and I was like, "Why? Why did you do this?" And it was solid, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that with that kind of stuff, you have to be. I remember. When I did Putnam County Spelling Bee, which I don't know if you came to see that, didn't you?
I might have. I don't remember.
I played Chip Tolentino, and he gets out in the end of the first act. He gets out of the Spelling Bee, and so I come back in Act 2, and as God, surprisingly enough, again, but the whole set was a high school, like not a high school, a middle school, because we're supposed to be middle schoolers. Like we're adults playing kids, acting like kids, even though we're portraying. It's really weird. It's really weird. But like, we were supposed to be kids and whatnot. And so the middle schoolers are on the bleachers, and then behind you as the set, it's like the gymnasium / cafeteria. And so there's a backboard for a basketball hoop up on the one side. And what they did was during the second act, for when that sequence that I come out as God, they went the backboard falls down, and it's a plank that I walk out on.
Oh no.
And so you know how they had it? And this is the jankiest thing. No, dude, this is the jankiest thing about it. You know what the worst part about it is? That thing that comes down is held by chains that two people in the back were holding up while I stood. No. So they were like, you know, the whole like thing of like you see two guys pulling a throne with two chains, and they're walking, like the whole like Les Mis with Hugh Jackman like pulling the boat. Yeah. It's that them holding me, because if they let go, I fall down. And I was like, why wouldn't you have it where it like just stops and it would hold? No, they were just like, but it looked awesome because out of nowhere, the backboard would go down and I would walk out and there's a light behind me. So it looks like a holy light, you know?
Yeah.
And it would always freak me out so much because I was like, you know,
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna fucking fall. One of these guys are gonna let go accidentally and I'm gonna fucking fall 6 feet and hit the ground.
Oh my God.
It was higher than 6 feet. It was probably like 10 feet because it was like on the top
it's a
section.
basketball.
Yeah, it was really high up.
It's very high up. That's wild.
It was crazy, dude. It was.
I'm gonna break a knee. Like, I'm legitimately going to break a leg. Like, guys,
I'm legitimately going to break a leg. But anyway, moving past the theater, the theater place. Say, we've been really talking about that for a while.
Sorry, guys.
No. Well, we're doing good on time. After high school, you went into college for art. And
I did do that.
You followed that for a little while. Then you realized it wasn't for you, which is, you know, that happens. And that's another shitty part about America and the education system of like, hey, you have to know what you want to do with your life now.
And you're 18. Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, and which is exactly the reason why, like, I was, because, dude, if I hadn't had the opportunity to come up for the juice bar, I would have gone to college probably for business management, and that's it.
You'd be like a totally different person. You'd be a suit. You'd be a suit.
I'd be a suit.
Get out of here.
Maybe if I'd like finished college, who knows? But I didn't. But like that's the thing. Like I would have gone in probably like undecided. Because I just didn't know at that point. Because up until that point, I was like theater, and then I decided not to.
You graduate with a bachelor's of multidisciplinary studies, which basically just means, I'm sorry if anybody has these, it means you don't know what you want to do.
Yeah,
and it means you don't really have a degree. Like
it's hard. It's
that's just what it is.
It's hard because like they do kind of want you to figure out what you want to do like right away, and like we've been talking about since the beginning of this podcast is. You constantly change in life, and your likes change so much, especially at a young age. Like you're still trying to find yourself. Like,
hold up, so you're trying to tell me you're human and you have opinions that change?
How dare you, you son of a bitch!
No.
But like that's the thing. Like they expect so much, and because I never went to college, I don't know who've watched my stream and stuff know that, but like I didn't go to college. I didn't know what I would want to do, and I had the opportunity to do the juice bar, which was a good decision, but also a stepping stone because it didn't last very long because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
100%. Like, I mean, no one ever knows what they're doing. 100%. Like, I would agree. Like, yeah. If you could go back and redo it, do it again, because it's not even like a make it work this time, but like for just the overall aspect of you living how you are and getting to where you are. It's like that experience like taught you so much, not only in like a business realm of things, but just even life. In like a personal level, like life situation, because it was a really bad situation that happened as the result of it, but like you needed that.
Yeah. And so, and that's the thing, like
that's
same
how
with
you learned that. That's how you learned like people aren't always as good as they seem. Like
I'm still learning that.
And I'm still
learning 100%. That. I feel like everyone's going through that, you know.
100%, like always.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because like especially if I had the opportunity to do the juice bar over again, like I would definitely know what to do differently now, knowing everything that I learned, but without that experience, I would not be who I am. And I probably wouldn't even be dating Joy or married to her now, you know?
Right.
Which is crazy.
Like that's another thing. Because, I mean, the only reason you kind of knew Joy is because you had to pick up another job and go caroling in July.
Yeah.
It was Christmas.
And the only reason I knew her prior to that was because of theater.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Everything adds to who you are and where you're meant to be. Like it's not
And
Just because
so
it's
wild.
shitty doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
Like I mean, me in my situation, like so I went to college for a year. The only reason, so it's not the art that I didn't enjoy. It was I went to a liberal arts college instead of an art school, where if I went to an art school, I would be doing everything and learning everything I loved. But I had to do the other classes. I had to do the math, the science, like all, and the English, and like all that. And I'm not the brightest bulb in the bunch, but
Also, you
I
and I
am.
are both pretty similar in the front where homework, we don't mind tests. We don't like homework. Busy
I can
work.
do tests all day, every
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
You can
Busy
test me,
work
I win.
fucks our brains up.
No,
It's,
I cannot do busy work.
it
Like,
freaks me out. I can sit and read a book and have no problem and then take a
so
test.
like,
But like
I've been reading
homework
more
itself,
too.
oh my, same, dude. That's the thing.
It's
Homework,
weird.
busy work always made me feel
Mhm.
stressed. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I like that was my main thing, was like college stressed me the hell out because I could do my art stuff and be fine. That was actually my escape from being stressed out from
Yeah.
doing all the other bullshit work. That like I was like, why am I doing this? Like all of that. Um, but no, like I had a real talk with one of my professors, my 3D professor. I was like, "Yo, what am I gonna do with a bachelor in fine arts?" He was like, "Get a master of fine arts." I was like, "Nah." I was like,
Nah,
"That
I'm
ain't
good.
happening, man." I was like, "That can't happen." He's like, "Well, that's what I had to do, and that's basically what everybody else is gonna do. And right now, you are in the best situation to say, I don't need that, and make it work on your own." And I was like, "Okay." Because like
Yeah.
the weird thing with the arts is like they always look for the letters and documents at the end of your name. They don't like to look at your work. They like to look at your, like, what you've done and where you've done it. So it's one of those things. So it's like I don't want to be put in a gallery. That'd be cool, but like, I mean, I feel personally my work is not that good that like people love it, but also that's just every artist, maker, person ever.
Yeah.
It's like we're all our own worst critic. That's just how it is. But like, uh, I mean, if I didn't drop out and like move in with my wife now, like I wouldn't be learning how much of a shit show it is to work for corporate stuff, or like all of that, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. You wouldn't be where you are.
Right, at
100% you would
all.
not be where you are.
No.
And that's the crazy part. Like I feel like yes, there's always another possibility that could have come from us doing a different, making a different choice than we did.
Right.
But
But
we
like,
wouldn't be
man,
who we are now, and as long as you are happy with who you are now, like that's all that matters.
good life lesson. Good
Good
life
life
lesson.
lessons. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. We something I went through that pretentious stage. I went through the shy stage. I went through like the middle ground stage. And now I'm kind of
Mm,
like finding 100% of who I am. And over the last like 4 years, I've been like, okay, this is what I love. This is what I like to do.
right.
I've taken the things that I've learned from other things and been like, this I like, this I like, this I like. Let's try to combine all of them. And that's where I found
Right.
streaming, and that's why I want to try it out. And like you found your love for video games during that time, this 4 years, I found my love for trophy hunting and video games and what kind of video
Yeah.
games I like. And you know, it's just one of those things. I don't know. I just think it's a cool. It's one of the things that people talk about, but in the bad light of it, like everyone's like, oh,
Right.
you know, I really wish I would have made this decision, or I look back at that, blah blah blah. It's like, well, think
Yeah.
about the good things that have come from the choices that you've made. Like, yeah, everyone's gonna fuck up and make bad choices, but where
That's
are you
called being
now?
human.
Yeah, where are you now?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
philosophical right now.
yeah. I mean, that's how we always get.
Yeah,
But
it's a deep
like it's,
conversation.
and I literally just had a conversation with one of my coworkers the other day, like about, like she said something about, so I have a tattoo of a paintbrush,
I
and
love that tattoo.
she's like, oh, that's one of my favorite brushes to use. So I was like, yeah, me too. Like that's why I got it on me. Like, I love it, and we got to talking about like art and making and like all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I feel like a piece of shit because I haven't done the art thing in a while, which I should. I know I should, but it's a matter of,
You have to
like,
have the
she brought up a
motivation
good
for it.
point. Yeah,
You
it's
have
a
to
matter
feel
of
it.
doing it whenever it feels right versus doing it because you know you need to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand it's like a muscle that you need to flex and like all that to like keep it up to date and whatever, but like I can always get back to it. It's about finding who you are as a person just as much as like figuring out your actual craft for it. Like it's a bunch of things. And like yeah, it was really nice that she was like, I like to paint too, but like I had to switch my profession up because like I mean college wouldn't allow me to, and so she had a similar situation I had where it was basically like, oh, I shouldn't do this because it's not gonna lead to anything more than a ton of debt.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're right. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
you were ranting. That's the nice part about this. Like, it's nice to have someone on to talk to, and we can just kind of go off of each other. Plus, it was nice to have you on because I wanted to talk about like earlier years.
That's true.
But I think this is a good spot to end it. Mm-hmm. Dude, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. It was a lot of fun. Question for this week. Is there something in your life that you've done that at the time you were like, wow, this is weird, but has led because of that decision to ultimately something good? That is my question to everyone listening. Tweet at me and do hashtag you've been joshed and answer if you enjoyed the podcast, if you got a laugh, if you enjoyed it, and let me know what that decision was. If you feel like sharing,
I don't know if you can fit that into 150 characters, but like you could try.
Yeah, just be like, you know, I ate a microwave and now I have superpowers. You know.
Whoa! Wait, is that how it works?
Yeah, it's just a radiation, man.
Oh, nice.
They think you need to get bit by a bug or go through a science thing. No, like it's just always radiation with Marvel. So just eat a microwave and you're fine. No, put your head. No, don't do that.
Please don't
do that. Don't do a dumb middle school decision like we've done. Dude, you remember when we had the whole Camp Nawako to ourselves and we got the knives out and we just started trying to stick them into trees?
That was so bad.
That was so dumb. They weren't sharp enough to get stuck in the trees, but we were like, we're gonna be like throwing knives.
Weren't they butter knives?
Yeah, they were just butter knives. They weren't even like they're not gonna work. I don't know why we kept trying. If anything, we did more damage to the knives than we did to the trees because those things were fucking strong. I think we did bent and shit. Yeah.
We're like, I don't know what happened. Like, whoa.
Why are these knives bent? I don't know.
Like, what? Hey.
What the fuck? But JP, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, buddy. Everybody, remember to eat your apples and stay funky, my dudes. I will see you all next week. I'll talk to you guys next week. I always say see you with your voice. You'll see me with my face, throat voice, and you'll hear me. Yeah. But everybody, thank you for listening. I will see you all soon. Bye.